In this video, I'm going to introduce you to the concept of transformations using the Free Transform tool. So, my sunglasses appear to be much too large for my ducky to wear. How do I correct that? First, you need to make sure you're on the right layer. Okay, so I'm on the layer that has my sunglasses. And then I'm going to go up to my edit menu. And down here in about the center, you're going to see that you have this option for Free Transform. And then you have Transform, which has a bunch of different options. Okay. For today, I'm just going to be talking about free transformations. And Free Transform, again, is really the tool that you will rely on a lot. It's the go-to. It's got a really easy to remember keyboard shortcut, and it does a variety of things. So go ahead and select that. And you're going to see that you have a bounding box around the sunglasses. And this will give you a nice idea of how large these sunglasses are. Okay, so obviously they look much larger than my duck. To begin to transform it, you just need to hover over these little boxes that you see around the bounding box, and these control what kind of transformation you're making. Now, honestly, at the end of the day, if you just start playing with any of these, they're not going to make much, there's not really any big change, okay? Versus, whether I use my corner, whether I use a top, whether I use a side, they're all working in a way that constrains the size or not constrains the size so much as the proportions. Okay, so my sunglasses still look like sunglasses, regardless of which box I choose to use as I edit. Okay, versus if I hold my shift key will enable all of these little boxes to work independently. So if I hold shift and drag on this bottom one, you'll see that I'm warping my image, okay, and I'm changing the scale or the vertical scale, so now they look much taller. I can do the same thing here. I could do the same thing here, okay? So essentially, if I hold shift, it's going to change the proportions, and it may end up looking very warped and kind of crazy. You'll see here that this is already looking pixelated, okay? So what I'm going to do is hit the escape key to go back to my starting point, okay? Again, edit, free transform, okay? This time though, I will be using my Command or Control T. Again, don't hold any key and simply work from the corners, and I'll go ahead and size this down. And I can go ahead and move it as well. Go ahead and sort of place it so I have a sense as I scale this, if that looks appropriate for my duck, okay? Now, you're going to see that all I'm doing is sizing down, okay? I'm not sizing up, and I want you to be very pointed about that you should never make anything small large, because again, you're limited by the number of pixels that are present within that object. So if you take something and try to blow it up to a ridiculous scale, it will start to look blurry and pixelated and ugly, and you can see it's happening really obviously here, okay? So again, one more time, hit escape. I'm going to free transform it again, and just go ahead and try to get it sized for your duck. Okay. If you make it a little too small, you can make it a little larger, but you don't want to go beyond what it was to begin with. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to accept this. And although the size of my sunglasses look fairly appropriate for my duck, they don't fit the face, okay? They look crooked, and honestly, my duck looks a little bit drunk right now. So I'm gonna do another free transform, bring that back, and you'll find that if you just hover outside the corners, you'll get this little curved arrow, and that just means you can rotate, okay? So I'll go ahead and rotate so it looks a little bit more natural on my duck. I can still scale it down, so if I need it to be a little smaller, I can do that. And I'll go ahead again and hit enter to accept. So in short, free transformations are great for scaling down, never up, and also for making quick rotations.